Hello everyone, I did my research summary on a report that was written by Harris Cooper, Georgianne Robinson, and Erica Patall of Duke University, and it is Does Homework Improve Academic Achievement? So I thought this was an interesting one to do because I think there's a lot of us that are pro-homework, a lot of us that are not pro-homework. So let's see what they have to say about it. So they did a study between 1987 and 2003, and they did a study over lower grades and higher grades. And basic numbers are there were some slight benefits to the lower grades, but not necessarily any negative effects either. And for the older grades, they saw a larger jump in benefits of homework. And 16% of 9-year-olds reported doing at least an hour of homework between this study. 37% of 13-year-olds reported doing at least an hour of homework, and 39% of 17-year-olds reported doing at least an hour of homework. It's been recorded that majority of students either are not doing the homework they're assigned or teachers are not assigning homework. Therefore, this makes the benefit of homework vary from student to student. So, I think more research needs to be done on the variance, if it truly does vary from student to student or if it has a larger effect. So now just some history on homework. Homework's never had a good reputation. It gets the reputation of being a type of discipline for a student's mind. Homework is once suggested to be rather intrusive on the home life of a student, and however, homework was used as a drill. So a drill in the fact of everyone's done multiplication drills, addition drills, subtraction drills, all sorts of math drills really, but they also go across subjects. It's mainly on memorization at that time when drills became very popular. And just a fun fact, Sputnik actually caused Americans to have a lot more homework. American students, the spike in homework jumped for American students at the time because the Russians launched Sputnik, and the trend of lessening homework was over after that because Americans were simply fearful of the fact that less homework meant students were not learning as much and wouldn't be unprepared for the technological future ahead of them. And so homework began to set the pace for learning and the acquisition of knowledge. So simply, if you could understand the homework, you were understanding the knowledge, you were understanding what you learned. And so now we get down to the data. Based on the data, homework improved the overall learning, but had little influence over test scores, which begs the question, is it really worth it? And yes, our students are learning more, but if our goal is to raise test scores, and this has little effect on the test scores, why do we continue to use homework? So there are a lot of different comparisons on homework, on who received homework, who didn't receive homework, and the question is, I think this goes back to that old question, are we teaching for the test, or are we teaching just to, teach our students? And that's a question I think that's been debated many times around. And so now we're going to get to this question, which is, does being assigned homework improve achievement? And so they did 6 studies with 7 samples, about 500 students in 25 different classrooms between 1987 and 2003. And based on this research, students did better with homework than without, looking at it as an overview, but basic grades and unit grades did improve with homework. Something that drew my attention, though, was the fact that the students' general work increased, yet standardized test information did not. Standardized tests only increased by about 4% with homework. So that begs the question, is it really worth it? Or what are we truly assigning homework for? Are we assigning it for extra practice? Or are we assigning it for busy work? Or are we assigning it for standardized test practice? And so now we look at the correlation between homework and achievement, and these results still beg the question, do we assign homework to improve day-to-day units, or do we assign to improve both day-to-day unit grades and standardized test scores? But the correlation between both seem to not make a huge difference at all. Unit grades did improve from what their day-to-day learning, but the standardized test did not. I think this can even relate back to the age-old question, do we still teach to the test? And because this simple correlation could relate to teachers assigning homework that relates to what the unit they're covering is, or not necessarily to the standardized test is covering. So that could be a little difference in material, difference in what they're truly actually learning. And so now we get to see if subject area had anything to do with the improvement with homework or improvement without homework, and truly it didn't. Based on Cooper's findings, the subject area of homework typically doesn't matter. If there was homework for the subject, there was an increase in the progress. If there was no homework for that subject, then there was no increase at the result, stayed at the status quo. So subject matter typically seems to be not that important in terms of if it helps with academic achievement. It'll help in that subject if there's homework assigned in that subject. So next is grade level. Did grade level have anything to do with academic achievement? And so these numbers simply show that the link between achievement and homework and grade level was definitely related. And so the lower grades show more of a benefit with some negative effect, but they balanced each other out. And the upper grades, however, show that homework did have a greater positive effect than the lower grades. So, and I think that makes sense due to the subject area, because, I mean, going into 10th and 12th grade, you're hitting a lot more complex information, complex problem-solving situations, and you really need some extra practice in what's going on in those subject areas. It's a lot more complex than in the lower grades. And in terms of the amount of homework and the time, there were some positive effects for junior high when they had less than 5 to 10 hours a week. In high school, there was a positive effect when they had more than an hour a day. So more than 7 to 12 hours a week is what they're saying they had when they saw a true improvement. And so in conclusion, I do think that homework does help in academic achievement, but I do believe there is so much more research that needs to be done, especially now, because of technological advances. Technology has changed homework completely. Homework can be more interactive and more engaging for students, and this may have a huge effect on the amount of homework that gets done, because there's new motivation to actually do the homework. And Cooper states in this report that it was made for the next generation of homework research. He knew that things were going to drastically change and that homework will never go anywhere, but would only evolve, to be honest. And so further research is needed, and to me is required. I think homework has its benefits, but does need to be regulated in some way to make it as effective as possible. Sometimes teachers can simply overload students with work, and some work is beneficial and some work can be pointless or busy work almost. And I believe that there needs to be a balance and a true understanding of what homework is, and that can truly benefit our students than just be work that they do at home. So I do hope you enjoyed this summary. I will attach the report. Please definitely read it. It's really intriguing. It's got a lot of data. It's not just rambling on. It's actually pretty interesting. And I can't wait to hear you guys' feedback. Have a great day. Bye.